Everyone, Shannon Petrovich with Therapist Talks. Coping with Cancer, 10 Crucial Insights from my journey and from many others. Unfortunately, I've been on all three sides of this journey. Three sides? Yes, I'm a therapist and I've counseled hundreds of people with cancer or in relationship with someone with cancer. But I also survived two brutal battles with cancer myself in my early 30s, with chemo, radiation, multiple surgeries, the whole tour. I've also gone through the illness and death of my first husband a few years later lost my dad to cancer. This video will share insights for navigating this life-altering journey, whether you're the one with the diagnosis or the one who loves someone with cancer. The first step on this horrible path is the diagnosis. Universally, this initial diagnosis brings shock, deep grief, confusion, anger, and terror. The deep grief of knowing your body has rebelled in such a horrible way, it's hard to describe. You feel betrayed, incredulous, resentful, guilty, scared, confused, and overwhelmed all at once. Your world fades into the background while doctors, hospitals, insurance company, and all kinds of other stuff takes over your life. Your full-time job becomes learning about your illness, researching, making calls, feeling suffocating anxiety about what comes next, and then taking that next step anyway. When I was diagnosed with the first of two episodes, it was completely out of the blue. In the space of a week, I was diagnosed with endometrial cancer, had a radical hysterectomy, and started down a terrifying, painful, grief-filled road. The second episode was 2 years after the first and even more difficult and terrifying. More grief, more chemo, more surgeries, and literally fighting for my life. When a loved one is diagnosed, everything in your life changes as well. Your previous life, including your job, your friends, whatever you did for fun, implodes into this new world where it all necessarily revolves around your loved one getting the care they need. You take on the role of advocate, researcher, appointment setter, and caretaker. The exhaustion becomes unbearable, and yet you continue to bear it and keep on trucking. The advocacy role is critical and can mean the difference between your loved one getting the care they need or not. And yet you also have to take care of yourself. This is so crucial, and yet it's so often overlooked. Sadly, the stats are that many caregivers don't outlive the one they're caring for. When my dad was sick and my mom was taking care of him, she was the one that had the heart attack. Some crucial insights to help you cope. Number one, it's critical to recognize and listen to all of the emotions you or your loved one is going through and honor all of them in their complexity. Listening means being allowed to honestly vent, putting words to all of those emotions, whether they seem appropriate, kind, rational. We all need that non-judgmental ear to listen and just be there. If you don't know what to say, just listen, be supportive, and be there. We need people who are not rattled by whatever we need to say, that can handle our emotions, not judging or fixing or saying dumb things to try to placate us. Some examples of things people say that they just shouldn't. Number one, you're going to appreciate your life so much more for this experience. Or, he's gone to a better place. You know, both may be true in the long run, but it's not helpful to hear that when you're in the thick of it. Number two, don't hang with people who make you caretake them. As you're looking for good listeners, recognize that sadly they're kind of hard to come by. At times, the sick person or the caregiver looking for support winds up having to support the other person's emotions. I've seen this so often, happens more than you can imagine, and it's very draining. So when family or friends or even acquaintances make you feel like you have to support them and placate them and say, it's okay, I'm going to be all right, or stuff like that, recognize this is not your job and shouldn't be the focus of your very valuable and very limited energies. Don't expend any energy on people who make you feel you have to caretake them. Number three, be with people who let you cry and make you laugh. My late husband had the ability to crack me up even in the most trying of times, and I loved him for that. We would often be heard laughing together waiting for my chemo, and the staff would smile and say, we love it when you guys show up, because we don't know what you're laughing about, but it's sure contagious. Recognize when someone makes you feel angry or hurt or uncomfortable. Say so, or just log it and know they're not the safe person to vent to. Number four, let yourself cry a lot. You're going through a grieving, letting go of and maybe even completely losing all of what you once knew and launching into a world that's scary and full of minefields that you don't know. When I had cancer, I used to wake up at 2:30 every morning and cry until 3:30. Everyone remarked how upbeat I was throughout my experience, but I always told them that's only because I cry my heart out for a solid hour every morning. When my husband was diagnosed, I cried all the way to work. I worked all day and then I cried all the way home. And my commute was 90 minutes each way. Be your own best friend and find friends who stick by you. Let go of the ones who don't. Amazingly, some friends I thought were close vanished, and others I really hadn't known that well stepped up in incredible ways. They brought meals without being asked. They offered rides. They brought my husband lunch on the days I had to work. They came to visit from 3,000 miles away. They took our son, who was 10 years old at the time, on outings so that he could hang with other kids and be normal when I was sick. Number 6, don't buy into the mumbo jumbo everybody wants to sell you or give you. There is a lot of snake oil out there in the guise of alternative healing practices. Don't be shamed or guilted into trying anything you don't want to, and disconnect from the people who are pushing you. Their insistence that you have to do this or you have to go there or buy this or try that, that's not your drama. This is your journey and you can do it your way. Anyone who judges you for not doing your journey their way needs to be given the boot. People told me I had to take shark cartilage and burn this candle and eat this stuff and not that stuff and all sorts of things I don't even remember. One even said I had to talk to some guru healer on the phone who could heal me through the phone from another state. So take what you need and leave the rest. Don't feel compelled to do anything that doesn't resonate with you. And even if it sounds good, like a massage sounded good, but it really wasn't, don't be afraid to say thanks, but that's just not working for me. Number 7, rest when you need to and get out and enjoy the sunshine when you can. I had couch days and I had days I could go to work, and I even had days where I felt pretty good and would go on a low-key hike. I bumped into my surgeon on a hiking trail in Pima Canyon about 10 days out of one of my surgeries, and he just about fell off the trail. But I felt good that day, and it was amazing to be outdoors in the sunshine, moving my body on my favorite trail with my husband and son. Number 8, embrace your baldness or your wig or your scarf or whatever you decide to do. Don't hide. The people who matter won't mind, and the ones who mind don't matter. I wore a wig when I lost my hair, and many people didn't even notice. The ones who did didn't say anything, and they were very quietly supportive, which I appreciated. And then when my hair began to grow back, I went au naturel, and many who hadn't noticed thought I cut my hair really short. Luckily, Sinead O'Connor and Demi Moore were sporting baldness at the time, so it kind of looked cool. Number 9, focus on listening to your body. As much as feels good, nourishing your body with healthy foods and juices and drink lots of water, but give yourself permission to be in your body and take care of your body even though you're mad at it and feel betrayed by it sometimes. Self-nurture in every way you can muster. Find new ways all the time and be open to other suggestions as they pop up, but again, only what works for you. Listen to yourself in terms of whatever feels good. I always wore my husband's big shirts and a pair of overalls when I was going through chemo, just because they made me feel happy and safe somehow. Be so gentle with yourself. The last thing you need is judgment or stress hormones coursing through your body. Give yourself permission to do what feels right and skip what doesn't feel good. People thought I was crazy to keep working part-time when I was sick and going through treatments, but I continued to work because I didn't want to lose everything. I decided some losses were out of my control, but what I could control was what I didn't have to lose. So I lost so much, but I didn't have to lose the private practice that I loved and that I'd built from scratch. I also decided I didn't want to lose touch with family and friends, and though it was sometimes hard to go to gatherings, I did it when I felt up to it. Often it was great to be around people, even though I didn't think it would be. But before I went, I always talked to whoever I was going with, and we had an exit strategy in case it got hard. And number 10, reach out and let people know what you need. Don't be a hero. Don't try to do it all yourself or handle it all yourself. And don't try to keep all your emotions in. That's incredibly unhealthy and just not necessary to suffer alone when help is available. Get the support you need. I tried a few support groups and grief groups, and I just didn't like them. And other people find them super helpful. I decided to call a dear friend who's a therapist, and she tried to say, let's just go to coffee. I don't want to charge you or anything. I explained to her I needed to schedule an hour, meet in her office, bill my insurance, and hand the receptionist my copay so that I could feel free to sob for an hour, go through an entire box of Kleenex, and not feel like I had to pack all my emotions back in after a few minutes like you do with a friend. Going to see her as a therapist was incredibly freeing and important to me. I hope part of what you've gained from this video is that we can survive some really awful experiences. Things I thought would unravel me are now behind me. So whether you're fighting with the diagnosis or navigating it with a loved one, take good care of yourselves, and I hope some of these insights will serve you. If you appreciated this video, please hit like and please subscribe on that red button there so you'll get notified when more videos come out, usually 1 or 2 a week. Take good care, and I'll talk to you again soon.